everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I posted a form for my subscribers to share their favourite comebacks or debuts of 2024 so far, and although the form was only public for less than 24 hours, it got almost 100 individual submissions, which was insane, and some people put down multiple favourites, so thank you so much to everyone who participated. I tried to include at least one favourite from everyone, but unfortunately I'd be here till 2025 trying to include it all. So if I haven't included yours, I'm really sorry, but I really enjoyed reading through each one, and I'll definitely try to do more videos including you guys in the near future. I've put each comeback or debut into a tier and also given it a ranking out of 5 that corresponds to this tier. There's no song on here that I genuinely think is bad or that I genuinely hate, so do keep that in mind as you're watching. Finally, before we get started, just a quick disclaimer that this is all my opinion. I'm aware that these songs are loved by many, but some may just not be my personal taste, so if you don't think you can handle someone potentially criticizing your favourite song, it's probably best to not watch this video or perhaps revisit it later. Starting off strong with Miss Nayeon's latest title track, ABCD. I'm still largely undecided on this song. I really love the concept and the stagings, but something feels off about it. When I first listened to it, I thought I was going crazy because the post-chorus sounded more like a pre-chorus, and it just threw me off. Having said that, I do actually enjoy the post-chorus the most. It's probably the best part, so I'll put it on the lower side of the B tier and give it 2.5 out of 5, but I do think it'll grow on me more. Thank you to Natasha, Once Forever, Rose and Zara for submitting. So next up we have Armageddon, the second title track to aespa's first full album. Now I love this album as a whole, but Armageddon specifically has grown on me a lot. I love the concept, it just feels so quintessentially aespa. For me, it's definitely an A tier and I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 rating. Thank you to Faye, Gigi, Haran, Katarina, Kiki, KV, Lally, Laura, Lily, Ola and Vivi for submitting Armageddon. Now, I definitely had a certain bias when I saw the announcement for Bad Billion's debut, as I was there when Emma's fan cam went viral as a backup dancer. Their self-titled track, Bad Villain, is really good, but I can't say much beyond that, so I'll put it in the B tier and give it a 3 out of 5 rating. Thank you, Cherry Yojin, Christine, Jess and Love for your submissions. I know this track is a miss for many people, and I do understand why. With their last mini album having Sweet Juice as the title track, it was going to be difficult to follow up from that. And I think straying away from that sound for their BXX album was actually a smart idea. I think if any group released this, it would be better received, but due to Purple Kiss's niche sound, it was a shock to most. Having said that, I don't mind the song and I listen to it every now and again, so I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5 and place it on the B tier. Thank you Potato Cat 64 for submitting this. As most of you probably know by now, I'm much more of a girl group stan than a boy group stan, so I'd never actually heard any of ONF's tracks before, but I was pleasantly surprised when I listened to this song eventually. The instrumental part post-chorus is beautiful, and I can definitely see myself adding this to an easy listening playlist. It's nothing super special to me, but it's a good song, so I'd give it a 2.5 out of 5 and put it on the upper C tier. Thank you to Alice and Saturn for suggesting this. I was so happy when I saw people submitting this song, and I truly feel bad for anyone that doesn't enjoy it because it's just so fun to listen to. The production is so satisfying and the empty chorus works so well with the concept. Are the lyrics a bit cringy? Sure, but I don't even care, it's just too good. This is our first S tier song and a solid 5 out of 5. Thank you Stacey for saving summer, and thank you to Momoland Stan and Vivi for suggesting this absolute masterpiece. Red Velvet, I knew you'd come through for us. I'll admit, when I first started listening to this song, I was a bit skeptical throughout the first verse, but as soon as the chorus hit, I felt like I was ascending. It's so good and dreamy, but with a slightly dystopian feel, which was definitely backed up by the cult-esque music video. This is probably my favourite Red Velvet title track since 2019, and for that reason I'll be putting it on the S tier as well and rating it a 5 out of 5. Thank you Cherry Yojin, Gigi, Carrie, Lily, Whiny Coaster Brat and Yervoik for submitting. Some people actually just put the whole of NMIXX's album down, and I totally understand why. It's a wonderfully cohesive album with some really strong tracks like Dash itself, Run for Roses and Boom. Now Dash has definitely grown on me a lot, and while I still prefer Run for Roses, I love the quirkiness of it and how it sounds just like NMIXX. I'll put Dash on the higher end of the B tier and rank it 3.5 out of 5. Thank you Kay, Once Forever and Soulkey for submitting. The way I feel about this song is the same to how I feel about their title track, Can't You See Me? I genuinely like it and I think it's a great song, but for some reason I never find myself listening to it. Maybe it's just because I'm not a huge fan of slower songs. I tend to lean towards TXT's B-sides rather than their titles anyway, so this is going to be a 2 out of 5 for me, despite being a very beautiful song. Thank you to Mista for sharing your favourite song of the year. This is definitely a difficult one for me. If you had asked me my opinion after first listening to it, I would have put it on the A tier, but it hasn't aged very well in my opinion. Overall, it's definitely LESSERAFIM's weakest album so far, which is a shame to say because I would have said the same thing for Unforgiven previously. I really hope we get more mini albums like Fearless and Anti-Fragile in the future, so for now I'll give Easy a 3 out of 5 and put it on the B tier. Thank you to Cynthia, Foodie-chan and Marie for submitting, and a special shout out to my boyfriend Pedro for submitting this because he wanted to be included. Baby Monster is quite a tough subject for me because one day I love their tracks and the next day I can't stand them. If I listen on a surface level, I enjoy most of their songs, but if I delve a little deeper, the low production value becomes very jarring. The verses of Forever are good, along with the first part of the chorus, but the part where they say forever is really difficult to enjoy and feels so forced. I hope we can hear more from Baby Monster in the future, but perhaps with a new production team. I'll give it a 1.5 out of 5 and place it on the F tier. Nonetheless, thank you to KKQUM, Pop, Rose and Sophia for sharing. Quite a lot of people submitted this song, so I apologise if I didn't add everyone's name, but I can definitely understand the love for this song. It's so catchy and feels like a great way to debut the full group, plus I love the symbolism in the music video. I'm not sure if this song will have the same longevity for me as Generation and Rising, which are both S tier songs in my opinion, but for now it's definitely on my playlists, and it might be an S tier later on. But now I'll place it on the A tier and rate it a 4 out of 5. Thank you to Chow Cacao, Cherry Yojin, Evie, Ingrid, Key, Lola and Vivi for submitting this. You guys are gonna hate me for this, and fair enough, I hate me too for not loving this song, but it's just not hitting for me. It's a cute little bop, but I can't say more for it beyond that. The post-chorus is probably my favourite part and the most memorable part, but the rest is pretty forgetful. I'm so sorry, Lucemble, I love you, but I'm gonna have to be true to myself and put this on the C tier, with a 2.5 out of 5 rating. Thank you to Cherry Yojin, Greta and Loveliness for submitting Lucemble. Some people actually just submitted I've Switched, the album as a whole, and if I was ranking the album as a whole, it would definitely be a 5 out of 5. Ive's B-sides always hit, but Heya as an individual track is probably my third or fourth favourite on the album. Despite that, I'd still give it a 3.8 out of 5 and put it on the slightly lower A tier. Ive are just that good. Thank you to Irene, Kiki, Jennifer, Once Forever, Umbrella and Winnie for submitting Ive. This is not what I expected from Eve at all, but I love it. no surprise considering Pink Panthers was involved in the production, it definitely has a hint of her sound. It's so catchy and I find it so easy to listen to. It's not revolutionary, but that doesn't mean I don't love it. I'll definitely be putting this on the A tier and rating it a 4 out of 5. Thank you to Candy, Ingrid and Marble for submitting this song. I definitely would have rated this a 5 out of 5 about a month ago, but I think it's become a victim of my tendency to overplay songs. Despite that, I still love it. I love everything that Kiss of Life put out. Midas Touch is still a go-to song if I want something upbeat, sassy and dance-worthy, and it's definitely staying on my playlist indefinitely. I'll put it on the high A tier and rank it a 4.5 out of 5. Thank you Christine, Foodie-chan, Kai, Pinky, Rena, Soph and Zoe for your submission. Now this is definitely my favourite track that Baby Monster have put out so far. It definitely has a higher production value than the likes of Batter Up, Forever and Like That, and although on first listen I didn't like it very much and labelled it as cringy, I do really enjoy it now, especially the ending. I'll put this on the B tier and rank it at 3.5 out of 5. Thank you Cynthia and Hey for sharing your opinion on Sheesh. Now, NCT and I really don't have the best relationship in general. I'll be honest, most of their music doesn't interest me, with the exception of a few tracks. I thought maybe that this would be changing when I first heard Smoothie. I was really enjoying the first verse and the build-up, but when that empty chorus hit, I knew history was repeating itself, and this song just wasn't for me. Despite liking the verses, I can't see myself listening to this much in the future, if at all, so I'll have to place it on the F tier and rate it a 1 out of 5. But I'd love to hear some suggestions on NCT Dream B-sides I should check out. There has to be some that I like. But thank you to Roisin for submitting this and sharing your favourite song of the year so far. Despite Armageddon being more of a grower, Supernova was an instant hit for me. It's so catchy and so fun and definitely stands out in aespa's discography despite being a similar concept to Spicy. It's still on repeat and it's definitely one of my most listened to songs so far this year. An instant 5 out of 5 for me and straight to the S tier. Thank you Alaya, Faye, Foodie-chan, Gracie, Mew, Pengu and Vinny for submitting this bop as your fave of the year so far. I feel like people moved on from Untouchable way too fast. This was so refreshing for me to hear, having kind of fallen out of love with Itzy a bit after the release of their Crazy in Love album all the way back in 2021. I haven't felt a proper connection with their music since then, apart from the odd track like Killshot and Snowy, but this album is definitely the one I was waiting for. Born to Be and Untouchable are both incredible tracks with amazing production. Untouchable is still one of my most listened to songs this year, despite being released right at the beginning of the year. I'll be putting Untouchable in the S tier and rating it 5 out of 5. Thank you Janine for suggesting Untouchable, I was really hoping to see it included here. Okay, hopefully this will make up for me giving Girls' Night a hard time earlier in the video. Virtual Angel is the most beautiful song I've heard in a long time, and maybe it's the re-debut of some Loona members contributing to this, but it almost makes me tear up when I listen to it. It's such a beautiful song, and I don't think I could ever get sick of hearing it. The whole album is unbelievably good as well. I'll be putting Virtual Angel in S tier as well as giving it a 5 out of 5 rating. Thank you Kai, Lola, Lolly, Umbrella, and more people for including this beautiful song in your submission. So don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. This song was slightly doomed from the beginning in my books, as I just don't really enjoy this style of all rap very much, as I tend to be a very melodically focused person. Having said that, I can still admire the artistry of the song and the concept. I think it would be a lot more enjoyable for me if it were mixed with an R&B or pop-based hook, but alas, I have to be honest and put it on the F tier with a 1 out of 5 rating. Nonetheless, thank you to Cherry Yojin and Christine for submitting this song. I love hearing other people's opinions and sharing how people's taste in music differs.
Gotta make that money, make purse.
Up until recently, I had written off itzy as a group whose music I just didn't really enjoy, having listened to their debut Pirate King when it dropped, and other tracks like Gorilla and Say My Name just not being my cup of tea. However, my friend is a huge fan of itzy, so I began listening to them a bit more, and I've grown to love some of their tracks, such as Cyberpunk, Deja Vu, and Bouncy. Work is a really groovy, higher tempo hip-hop track, and I love the melody. However, I find the chorus to be a little too repetitive and drawn out for my liking. I do really enjoy the beat and the verses, so I'll put it on the higher end of the C tier, with a 2.5 out of 5 rating. Thank you, Celia, for sharing your favourite song of the year so far. And with that, I'll end the video here to spare any more rambling, because I could do that all night. I hope I didn't offend anybody too much, and if you do feel like I've been unfair, I do apologise. I also apologise if I haven't included your submission in the video, but like I mentioned, I really enjoyed reading through them all and checking out some new songs that I hadn't actually heard before. Also, do let me know if I've mispronounced your name or nickname. I hope I haven't butchered any too badly. And finally, feel free to respectfully agree or disagree in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions as long as it's respectful. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.